Straw Hut Media.
Viewers beware, you're in for a scare. Hello viewers and listeners, it's part 2 of our Goosebumps celebration here on Release Date Rewind, a podcast that celebrates movies and TV shows on their milestone anniversaries. Halloween is over now, I know, it came and went, I'm sad too, wah wah, but we're continuing the creeps here on the show, so thank you for listening to this on your favorite podcast app, or maybe you're listening on the You Run Podcast Network, or maybe you're watching on YouTube. No, I'm not R.L. Stine, I wish. I did meet him once, though. I'm your host, Mark J. Parker, a TV and movie lover and a TV and movie maker. And in the previous episode, I had the honor of interviewing the artist and illustrator Tim Jacobus, who created those beautiful, original Goosebumps covers more than 3 decades ago in the early 90s. Now, a fellow podcaster and I are celebrating the Goosebumps Fox TV series, which aired its memorable premiere episodes 30 years ago. So grab your friends and your frenemies, wear those Halloween costumes a little bit longer, and if you'd like to watch or rewatch The Haunted Mask Part 1 and Part 2, all 4 episodes of the Haunted Mask specials are currently streaming on Netflix along with other special memorable episodes from the series, and the rest of the series, all the other episodes, are streaming for free on the Roku channel and Fossum. Also, everyone, before we begin, I just want to say I was so excited when I recorded this episode that I stupidly forgot to check my audio settings, and so my mic wasn't properly selected. So, sorry, I apologize for my not great audio quality. It's a rare mistake on Release Date Rewind, but luckily, my guest sounds crystal clear. You're about to hear him, and that's all that matters. All right, trick-or-treaters, put down the worm sandwiches and put on the haunted masks because it's time to rewind. Now, I have an equally special guest, a friend of mine who loves all genres, but especially the spooky and the weird and the funky, right? We have Jesse from Cult Cinema Circle. Hello, Jesse.
Hi, Mark. I almost called you Jesse. That's whatever. Wow.
Just looking into a mirror.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. No, thank you so much, Mark, for having me. I know we talked about this because you put it on your story on Instagram, and I was just like, oh hell yeah, I got it brung on for this one.
I'm so glad.
But yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Of course. It's always so fun chatting with you. This year, I've been lucky enough to be on your show, Cult Cinema Circle. How many? I think twice. We had Tank Girl,
yes,
one of the best, and Babysitter's Club, the movie. I mean, not. We forget. I say we as like a society, as a collective. We forget how good 1995 was with the entertainment.
It's so good.
It's so good.
Clueless.
I mean, we just had so many classics.
Now and then. What are we talking about?
Have you talked about Now and Then on your show?
Oh yes, yeah. I did it way back in the day. Really bad audio, and then my sister was like, "How effing dare you? You do this without me?" And so I was like, we're doing a revisited episode. So it was kind of my first revisited episode, which I kind of want to go back and do a little bit because there are ones where I'm just like, oh my God, yeah, I should have a guest on for this and not just have it be me or whatever. But, and also it's just like, we can dig into more different things because my show has evolved in a way, I think, where it's like, hey, it's not just a kind of beat by beat plot summary thing or just giving some little fun facts. I also want to try and get into well, what is this episode trying to, or what is the movie trying to say? What are some themes? And that's just for me, listening to other podcasts, and also just seeing how people do their things too, not trying to steal people's ideas or anything like that, but it's more so just you evolve and grow when you make a show like this and your tastes do that. And it's more interesting to talk about well, what is this movie trying to say, if anything, or what was the context of going on, which we talk about on this show as well. You do try to have that as well. So it's really interesting to dig into that and to just kind of hypothesize about it, because sometimes it's we were, you and me especially, we were younger when some of these movies came out. Unless we're talking about more current movies, but
of course. As we get older, it's so funny to rewatch these things like Goosebumps, like Now and Then. I'm probably gonna, I'm hoping to talk about that next month on my show, but all these great movies that you loved for whatever reason,
Yeah.
do you still love it now? Does it still
Totally.
work? And of course,
Yes.
you know, we'll always love these things, but do we just love it differently, right? Years later.
Totally.
And that's such a smart thing for your show because, yes, some episodes are just you. So how fun,
Yeah.
maybe for another anniversary or just like when a guest is like, I really want to talk about that. Why
Yeah.
not do it again?
Yeah,
This time it's
revisit
going to be
it.
different and revisit it now with a guest.
This is also everyone's reminder, everyone, to please, if your local library participates,
Amen.
please go get a library card, number one, because A, libraries are cool. But second,
Absolutely.
you can also get Canopy and Hoopla
Love
with
them.
that. And those are literal free, ad-free entertainment. And depending on your library, I don't know about you, you probably have a nice public local library like I do, kind of. So depending on where you live, listeners, you can get like some pretty cool titles from Canopy.
Oh, definitely.
Nice.
Oh, Canopy, I'm always surprised, has a lot. And Hoopla has a good amount, but Canopy's got all sorts of random, new, old.
Oh my God, yes. Honora was on there. Talk to Me was on. That's how I watched Talk to Me, I think. Like it, yeah, Canopy and Hoopla are kind of amazing. And like it's free. So like, you know, especially with some of the, you gotta be lining some of these streamers up. Like you have to pry Shutter out of my cold dead hands, I'm sure. But like, you know, but it's some of these things I might just be like, we ain't get this.
I got Canopy, right? Anyway, well, speaking of library, that's actually a great segue because reading is fundamental, everybody.
Yes.
And we are going back to 1995, Jesse, 30 years ago. I can't believe it. That's kind of scary. 3 decades ago. We were, I'm sure you were like me, we're like, anytime like Scholastic Book Fair came to your school or your community, just all those pretty colors of all the books. And like, it was just, and it's so funny because I've always loved books, but I don't really read as much as I should. I just love like book culture. I love buying a few, holding on to a few, putting them on a shelf, flipping through the pages. Do I finish reading it? Well, maybe, right? But having them, right? So we're going back to the Scholastic days, everybody, and we're going to celebrate Goosebumps because the TV show is 30 years old now. The very first episode that we are going to talk about, The Haunted Mask, premiered October 27th, 95 on Fox, and I remember that very well. You're younger than me, so you probably didn't watch live. Did you? No. Okay, so you watched a little later. I remember watching live. I was 8 years old. I was like, yes, give me like R.L. Stine come to life, you know, because the book series started in 92. So about 3 years later, now the show is starting, and that went on for a few years. Now, I do have to say, everyone, love Goosebumps, but I am more of an Are You Afraid of the Dark boy. How do you compare?
That was my what I had to say is that I was more of an Are You Afraid of the Dark kid. Because for me, not that we were rich or anything, but we did have Nickelodeon. And it was one of those things where I hope so, right? But or PBS, you know, kids, amazing. But like I definitely saw Are You Afraid of the Dark probably before, and I always return back to Are You Afraid of the Dark a little bit more. And all of that, but that doesn't mean I don't like Goosebumps.
Oh, definitely.
Obviously, I love it, but it's one of those things where I knew I was the perfect guest for this episode because I've only ever really watched like The Haunted Mask and The Haunted Mask 2. I'm not I've watched some of the other episodes and we could talk about that, but like it's you know, for me, like I was obsessed with The Haunted Mask and The Haunted Mask 2. Loved it. Loved. And but for me, Are You Afraid of the Dark was kind of more my thing because it was ultimately it was a little bit scarier than that. But I will say that I think like a mix of those two really got me interested in the horror genre. And Haunted Mask has a lot to do with that. So it's definitely like but yeah, I was definitely more an Are You Afraid of the Dark kid, but I definitely think like you have to, and plenty of whether it's other podcasts like the Goosebumps Crew that literally talks all about Goosebumps stuff, or even like Splat Attack that has like if they're 90s Nickelodeon, they've also done like verses where it's like talking about a Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark episode that are kind of similar, and they kind of do that. When you're talking about 90s era horror and especially horror for children, like you have to almost talk about these two shows in the same conversation because they are sister shows. There's about 49 kids who are on both of them. which
Wow,
is
that's
fun.
amazing. Well, they're
Like,
both Canadian, I believe. They both were
well,
shot
yes,
in
they're both
right?
Canadian.
Which you
Yes,
can hear that Canadian "sorry" all throughout the
sorry,
Haunted Mask. Oh my gosh.
100%.
"Sorry, I'm sorry." You
So
need to say
yeah,
you're
yeah.
sorry, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
A lot of the same people, there
Yep.
were different people, like directors who were part of it,
Uh-huh.
so but yeah, it's just definitely something where it's such an interesting time in history. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, but like
Mhm.
this was one of the times where like you literally have this targeted to children.
Yeah.
Like, and these two shows and also the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark books.
Oh.
Those
Oh,
were really the
oh,
big
yeah.
kind of
Those were scary. I still
big.
have my copies. Uh-huh.
Oh, I do too. I
Uh,
just like having them for reasons, okay?
oh, yeah, of course.
I just like having them. But like it's but that's what it is that it's like it's this interesting piece in history in that time where
Oh,
like
yeah.
now again, I'm not a child nor do I have children, but like there's only so many scary things that are like made for kids like that, I
Yeah.
guess.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
some stuff is still pretty cool, I'm sure. If you don't already, please, like, I'm just plugging everybody, but
Mm.
like please, go like follow like Horror for Kids,
Mm.
that guy, he's wonderful. I think Rainier, I believe his name is, Canadian.
Okay. Oh,
But
there you go.
he's fantastic. His page is great. So
Oh,
that's what I'm saying is just like, but this is, I mean, you were a child in the 80s, so I don't
mhm.
know, but like it's the thing of like being that I was, born in 92, like, and grew up in the 90s. It just was a time where
Oh, yeah.
yeah, horror was like a viable genre that was made for children. We had
Mhm.
these shows, you
Mhm.
had Halloween specials that could
Oh,
push the envelope a little bit
yeah.
of non-horror related stuff.
Yeah.
Um there's more of a trick or treat culture that was happening back
Yes,
then.
and I do have to say, I love seeing the
Yeah.
trick or treat scenes in these
Yeah.
episodes. Oh,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, because can I just say, everyone? Alright, sorry, but I gotta just be an old man. In the town I live in now, the
Mhm.
signs on the street says trick or treating October 25th, yesterday. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, no, no, trick or treating is on Halloween, maybe the
Right.
30th, depending on your town,
Maybe.
maybe." But, like, growing up, no, what made Halloween so special was
Mhm.
that's the day
The day.
that's the day you go with friends or with family and you trick or treat around town. Like, what do you
Mhm.
mean, like, the week before? So,
Right.
what is this, like, scattered trick or treat culture? No, I don't like it. It's weird,
Yeah, I don't either. And
right?
that was my thing too. Like it's I haven't trick or treated since I was like 7. But
Yeah.
like, for me though,
You
like it's a
stopped young.
thing. I
Okay.
did. I got scared one time
Oh,
from somebody who scared me. And
mm,
so that kind of stopped
so
me.
fun.
But it didn't mean I didn't like horror and stuff
Right.
after that.
Yeah.
Um but that's what I remember going to my grandparents' like neighborhood.
Yeah.
They lived in more of a proper neighborhood
Right.
where we could like do stuff. And yeah, doing that and just like it's just not as yeah, and even though I don't really do that much for Halloween, but I just like the kind of vibes of it,
Yeah.
and also just like it facilitates, more viewing of like scary content and like
Mhm.
that kind of fun stuff where you can do
Mhm.
that. And even though for you and me, like horror is
I mean, yeah,
365
we're watching it
all the
all day,
time
every day, but
because
it's
we're
just
just this
extra.
is who we are.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for
But now
sure.
everyone does. So like
Yeah.
AMC has Fear Fest and
Oh,
like all
love.
this other stuff.
Love.
So
There's
it's
nothing like an
yeah.
AMC or like a any channel that's showing, like, scary movies all day long in
TCM.
October,
Yeah.
TCMs, even Sci-Fi Channel. I mean, I don't have cable anymore,
Yeah.
but, like, a lot of those channels and some of the apps, like Shudder at least has the live, AMC
Yeah, yeah.
channel on there, which is nice. Nothing greater than in October, just having, like, random
Mhm.
horror movies playing, and even with commercials, whatever, just in the background, it's just like, oh,
It's
right?
nice.
It's
Yeah.
that nice warm blanket, like, "Okay, this is my time."
Goosebumps is rated GB7 because it may be too spooky for Goosebumps fans under 7. And now, Goosebumps, the Haunted Mask.
Now, let's go to late October '95. This is what was happening
Yes.
real quick in pop culture, Jesse. This is what was on TV. Brand new shows. Wishbone, it's talking about
Oh, you'd love it.
children's entertainment. That had just started a couple weeks prior in October
Mhm.
'95 on PBS.
Yes.
And, oh my gosh, a show I loved at least for a couple years. Oh my God, I thought it was so funny. Mad TV. Did
Oh,
you ever check out
yes.
Mad TV as a kid, right?
I was much of a Mad TV fan. I love them.
Yes. Stewart,
Um,
Miss Swan. I mean, we had some iconic comedians,
Amazing.
right?
Yes. Let's also remember that Wishbone did free the slaves, so he was a real
Oh,
one.
I
Love that
mean,
for him.
Wishbone was a true icon. It's sad, like, And I realized, like, is it not on anymore? Like, is there not a new dog? Because like that should
Not
just be on
really.
forever.
No,
That's
no.
like
But
Sesame Street. You know what I mean? Like,
it is, and also I think there's a documentary that's in the works of it, maybe, which I would hope.
yeah.
But I love Wishbone, and Mad TV was kind of my SNL because
Mhm.
I'm not really an SNL person like that. I
Okay.
really am not.
Yeah.
But Mad TV, I was like, oh no, there are people from that I still think are super funny to this day. And like,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you have Michael McDonald, you have Phil Lamar, who's
Mhm.
fantastic.
Mhm.
Deborah Wilson,
Mo
Mo
Collins? Yep.
Collins,
Mhm.
Alex Borstein,
Oh,
you know, but you know, there's that. But then even like Jordan Peele came out of that. Key and
that's
Peele came
right.
out of it.
That's so right. Yeah,
Like,
in the later years.
so
Mhm.
yeah, and it was kind of this answer to SNL
Yeah.
because fun fact, everybody, not to go on SNL history, but at the time that Mad TV came out,
Mm.
guess what was happening to SNL? They were like on the bubble.
We'll be right back.
Goosebumps, The Haunted Mask, Friday at 8, 7 Central on Fox.
Some of the new movies that came out that day, just to jog your memory. This was an interesting
Mhm.
day. Powder. Do you remember that film Powder?
Yeah,
The
that was
guy's
the
all
one.
white. That's Victor, creepy director.
That's Cheaper Creepers. So,
Yes. So, you know, but I remember that movie was
but
an
I remember
interesting one,
that.
and like, yeah, it's definitely not one I saw in theaters, but like everyone at school knew about it, like in the years
Hmm.
after. So, Powder came out, Vampire in Brooklyn from Wes Craven,
Hmm.
Eddie Murphy,
Hmm.
and Angela Bassett,
Yeah.
Copycat, which Jesse, I just
Yeah.
finally watched for the first time in full. I had seen clips. It's funny, I had seen the beginning and the end, and maybe like a scene in the middle, but never the full
Hmm.
thing. Okay, everybody, we have been sleeping on Copycat, and that needs to be
Hmm.
posted about way more. That is a
I need to
great
watch
horror
it.
film.
I need
Have
to
you ever
watch
seen
it.
it? You've
No, I
oh,
haven't seen it, but
you
I
know
heard
what?
of it.
Honestly,
Yeah.
since it's about to turn 30, I feel like now is such a good time. It looks so good because you
Yeah.
know, this was an interesting time, especially for film.
Hmm.
TV kind of still looked, you know, old, but like
Yes.
for film, because you know, Scream was the year later. Like this was at a time when like cameras and lenses were getting better, and
Yeah.
you know, the digital stuff. And Copycat looks so good. Copycat, in my opinion, is a great double feature with Scream. Scream's a little bit more
Okay.
fun. Copycat's a little more just serious and somber, but oh, it is so
Who are
good.
the stars of that? Is Jennifer Jason Leigh there?
No, close. Very, very similar kind of vibe. It's Sigourney Weaver, Holly
Okay.
Hunter, Dermot Mulroney,
Oh yeah.
um, and Harry Connick Jr. How can I forget? And
Say less. You just had to say Sigourney Weaver, Holly
Sigourney is
Hunter.
Sigourney is the Sydney. Holly Hunter is she's a cop, but she is giving Gale
Hell
energy.
yeah.
Dermot Mulroney is the younger cop giving like a
Hmm.
Dewey energy, which is funny because
Right,
then
right, right.
Dermot, you know, then later
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
And then Harry Connick Jr. I had seen these clips of him. Like, so you
yeah.
probably have seen a picture or two. He is terrifying. And
Yeah,
like it's Harry Connick Jr. So
yeah,
I just have to shout out everybody, Copycat. I
yeah.
know it's been around for a long time. Apparently, it was a big rental of 96. Once it came to
That makes sense.
VHS, it did really well at home. But it's just a movie that, you know, when people are posting about old movies, they don't really
Hmm.
post about
Hmm.
that one that much. And I think we should. So you'll be seeing
Yeah,
a
I
post
agree.
from me,
I
right?
agree. Yeah.
There we go. Check
I'll
it
watch
out. I'd
it.
love to
I'll
hear what
check
you
it
think.
out.
Because much like how Scream is about scary movies, Copycat is about famous serial killers. And that's all I'll say.
Oh,
That's,
nice, nice. Okay.
oh, right?
I like
Yes.
it. I like it.
Yep. So those were the cool things of what was going on, what was new. Now
Mhm.
we have the Goosebumps premiere, and we open with our own version of the Crypt Keeper, our own version of
Yes.
like Vincent Price. We have R.L. Stein himself starting the show, and
Yeah.
what's his line? He says, "Viewers beware, you're in for a scare."
Yes.
Viewers beware, you're in for a scare.
This
And
was
then,
actually hosted. This premiere was hosted by the Crypt Keeper, technically as well on
oh, was it
Fox.
really? Oh, I didn't know
Hmm.
that. Oh, I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Oh
You
my
can find
god,
it on YouTube. You can find the whole
really?
thing on YouTube where there's like interstitials of
Yes,
like of the Crypt Keeper and so John Kassir and all this. And so
yes.
yeah.
But first, a special presentation sure to give you goosebumps.
I love it. I love it so much because I remember watching this live, and I remember they sold some episodes, some
Yes.
key popular episodes they sold on VHS, and I had the
The
VHS.
1 hour specials normally.
Yep, the part one, part two, those big ones, right? Because I
Mhm.
had this, and I might have had the Tower of Terror one, or Terror Tower, it was called.
Yeah, Night in
I
Terror
think.
Tower.
Yes. So I had those on VHS. So I remember the cover, which was, I mean, same as the book cover. I
Amazing.
mean,
Like
look at
what
that,
are
signed by
we
Tim. I mean,
ugh,
right? I mean,
like
I
are you
love,
kidding me?
and it's really so impressive, Jesse, that like, because I talked to Tim the other day, the illustrator,
Yes.
and he, would send them ideas, but he was very much in control of what he designed,
Yep.
whatever came to him.
Yep.
And then it's really so amazing that the show then took his visuals that he made and said, okay, well, because the show is not all that different than this mask.
Not at all.
It's definitely got some details that are different, but the teeth, we have like an inspiration for, this is iconic, and then the show's mask is iconic in its own right. So I just think that is so cool how, like, you're adapting things multiple times and it's all so cool and it all works, right? So Jesse, I'm going to throw it over to you in your own words. Doesn't need to be long. Give us a little like log line, little summary. What is the Haunted Mask about? What happens in part 1? And feel free to talk about part 2.
Yeah. So what happens in the Haunted Mask 1 is that it is about a girl named Carly Beth who is very scared and anxiety ridden, and because she wants to be a little bit different, she decides she wants to be a scary costume for Halloween. So she goes to this local mask shop and she picks up this mask that's iconic, and it's like a goblin mask. And well, it doesn't come off of her face after a while, and now she has to figure out how she can get this off of her face and not be just taken over by the haunted mask. So that's the number one. And then the second one is really about one of the bullies in the episode, Steve. Chuck and Steve are like kind of the main bullies in the story, but Steve is afraid of growing older, I guess, because they're on the cusp of being like 13 or something.
Yeah, which is so funny. Yep.
And he decides he wants to get a mask as well, not be a pirate anymore. So he gets this old man mask, and he learns that maybe he needs to just be okay with being a kid.
Yes.
And there's a whole lot of other stuff that happens in the Haunted Mask too as well. But that's pretty much what it is. It's just mask be wildin', you know what I mean?
Mask
and that's
be
fun.
wildin'.
So
kids,
it
don't
really
be
is
so hard on yourselves.
Right.
That's the big lesson. Like, you are who you are. You are the age you are. It's so funny in the sequel how the kids are like, man, this is our last night to do anything scary because it's Halloween. It's like, next year we're gonna be too old for Halloween. As I'm like sitting there in my blanket, like eating candy, watching. I'm like, I don't think you're ever too old for Halloween, kids.
Right. For trick or treating, I guess. But
I guess trick or treating. Yeah, because I remember we trick or treated. Honestly, I mean, this might be kind of lame because you stopped early because you were scared by that person.
I was scared by something. Yeah.
I mean, we were still trick or treating when The Ring was out, and I was like a sophomore in high school. I mean, but we knew it was like, all right, we're getting too old. But like that might have been, I think sophomore year was the last year I went trick or treating because that was when we were like, I think a few people at the doors at their homes were like, oh, okay, we have older trick or treaters, and once you hear that, you're like, okay. All right,
yeah, now you should be having like a Halloween party at someone's house.
Oh yeah, and I did have Halloween parties for sure as a kid, even in like middle school.
Yeah,
we would all gather, watch a movie that I loved, like Scream. I know what you did last summer. That many of my friends could not watch. I'm like, well, at my house you can watch it, so we would watch it and then go trick or treating, or vice versa.
Exactly.
But yeah, then you come to that age where it's like, all right, next year let's have a party, or let's like go do a haunted house, or like go like that kind of thing. So trick-or-treating came to an end. But I do love that that part 2, the sequel that came out a whole year later, which is so great that we on this show got a sequel that, like I told you, up the stakes. We up the ante, right? It's not just Carly Beth and her mask drama. It's now Steve. The bullies, the supporting characters are now the leads in a way, right?
Yes.
I thought it was so well done to like switch it up that way, right?
Yeah, I think so too.
So good. But at least in part 1, let's talk about it. I mean, why do you love it, and why do you think 30 years later, I feel like I'm seeing it all over Instagram, maybe because of the anniversary, but I just feel like love for this episode specifically has grown and grown. So what do you think that's about?
I think what it is that it's the idea of nostalgia, obviously. We have always lived in like a dumpster fire of a world, I guess. And so for a lot of people, they want to be able to go back into childhood and nostalgia and be able to disassociate, which is fine. And so in that way, I think people return to this episode really because it was the first one, I don't think it was the first one shot, but it was the first one
at least
premiere.
Yeah.
And really got people interested. And I think also too, like, it's a universal theme, like where the haunted mask especially is that, struggling with your own self-love and your own self-acceptance is something that people deal with all the time, and people continue to deal with no matter what generation you are. And so I think that's something that is kind of universal and can be brought back to. It's kind of like a warm blanket to be able to watch something like this, whether you be watching like some of the, different Halloween specials around this time or whatever, but this is definitely a part of that. In a way, I guess because of the first haunted mask, Catherine Long did such a good job at being able to make you care about Carly Beth.
Definitely.
And I don't really know, and I guess listeners, if you are Goosebumps fans and you've watched all these things, maybe let me know or let us know. But like, some of the other acting in this show is not on the same level as maybe Catherine was able to do. They just don't have the same level of acting, especially for some of these people. I mean, not everyone's Ryan Gosling, who's in Say Cheese and Die, right?
I do remember that episode.
That's not a bad thing, but I'm just saying that, like, you don't just get nominated for a Gemini Award for no reason for your work. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
For those who may not know, the Geminis are pretty much the Emmys in Canada. That's what they used to be. So they don't really call them that anymore. But how we have the Emmys here, they have the Geminis in Canada. And
Geminis just sounds so cool. Oh, I want a Gemini. Right?
Yeah. And so like, it was, but Catherine Long in 97, I think, was nominated for that, or for the Haunted Mask.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. And she was like nominated alongside Sherry Lewis, funny enough. And Lamb Chop.
Oh, yeah.
And then also Ben Foster. He had been in something where he got nominated. The guy who won, I don't remember his name. His name's Callum something or other. Okay. But he's the one who won. But Catherine was also there too. So it's like, you don't just win. You don't just get nominated for that for not being good. So it's one of these things where it's like, but that was kind of cool about Goosebumps. And I think any Canadian child actor back in the day could tell you that like this was a way to get your foot in the door. There was a lower barrier of entry to that, and so that meant that you were going to have a range of different people who have different acting abilities, or who never really went and acted again, because even in this episode, Catherine Short, who is Sabrina, and she shows up in this episode, second episode, and she's Night in Terror Tower as well. But like, she also was somebody who did not necessarily want to continue acting after a while. And that's not because she was like bad or anything, but it was because she didn't want to do it anymore. But then you also have people, like I said, Ryan Gosling, Catherine Isabel is in an episode.
That's right.
I mean, like, there are some people you can
even
look. Hayden Christensen, for God's sakes, like, that's what I'm saying. Like,
in it? Oh, that's
he was in Night of the Living Dummy Part 3, I believe.
Oh, how funny!
So,
even the guy that plays Chuck, who I feel like we've
Amos
talked about.
Crawley.
He's done different things.
Well, he's been an actor as well, because he's in like Billy Madison.
He was in the Virgin Suicides.
He's in the Virgin Suicides. Yep. And he's also he was a voiceover actor, but he's been around. So I mean, that's what I'm saying, is like, you have these different people, but that was what was cool about Are You Afraid of the Dark and Goosebumps, is that there was a lower barrier of entry, because you don't have to be the most amazing actor to be on those shows.
Right. It's mostly about the effects, the
but it's about the effects, and you need a child in there somewhere. You need a kid. So it kind of varies on the level of talent, I guess, that the kid can have. So because John White, even, like, I mean, John White, like, he is Steve in the second one, but he was also in Cuckoo Clock of Doom, and then he would go on to be Eric Stifler's like cousin or something in some of those direct-to-video American Pie movies and stuff. So Catherine made you care, like, and I don't know how well some of the other actors in this series did that. Some of them did, but some of them you're like, okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally. Not every episode can slay as much as this one. It's funny, because when I was looking, because like I said, I remember A Night in Terror Tower very well. That was another two-parter. But the boy in it who plays Eddie, he's this cute actor.
He's a Hallmark baddie. He's kind of one of the hot Hallmark guys.
Oh, he's a babe. I'm like, oh, that guy?
He's still a babe too. Yeah. You're right.
But like, it's funny how, like, you just see like some child stars not only continue in the industry, but then, become like babes or or the
Yeah.
opposite, or, you get like an Edward Furlong, or like,
Yeah. I
just
mean,
certain people that's like, ooh,
yeah.
so everyone's got their own journeys, but it's just
Right.
interesting as lovers of this kind of stuff to see
Yeah.
them like, oh, that's where you ended up, or yeah.
Yeah, and it's just interesting because again, like this was a way for, and I think they talked about it before. Catherine, and Amos. Again, there was just a lower barrier of entry. Like there was
Mhm.
only so many people booking
Yeah.
back in the day.
Acting is the gateway into all the creative jobs, in
Hmm.
this industry. So
It's a
I
way.
think I think most people think of like, oh yeah, I want to play that part. And then you realize, oh, okay, I don't like acting, but I love what you do. Or, so
Yeah,
that's like the most accessible way to enter this world,
right.
Although there are many kids that just strictly go to like, stage crew in theater, or behind the scenes
Sure.
or whatever, or draw. So there's
Yeah.
definitely that. But I'd say a lot of people think they want to act and then realize, nah, I want to
Well, it's also
produce music
because
or whatever.
yeah, it's also because like, and this as a casting person and
Mhm.
having been somebody who teaches, kids and
Yeah.
stuff like that, where it's like, yeah, you just never know either. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I think it's important, and especially since we've had tragic stories of this. We talk about this. We've always talked about this. But like it's a thing of like when a kid really wants it or not.
Mhm.
Do you know what I
Oh, yeah.
mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I feel like it's as much as the parent might think that they are being slick and whatever. No, I think the kid knows. The kid will let you know as the casting person or as the director or
Mhm.
whatever that if this is really for them.
Mhm.
And I think someone like you in casting, I think are keenly aware of that, where you
Oh,
are
yeah.
aware of like, oh, you're only doing this because your parent wants you to do
Oh, yeah, and
this.
it's really no fun. I'm like, "Oh, this feels weird because you
And
do
it's
not
not
wanna do this."
place to tell you that, but I can almost tell
Oh, yeah, I
because
mean, I tell people, I say to parents, I'm like,
TBH, like
"Are
you
you
don't actually
sure?"
have much talent.
Right.
You're not going to tell people that like to their face, but
No,
like
no.
you're going to say like, yeah, I don't think you have like, I don't think this is for you. Maybe
Yeah.
it's also the anthology of it, so it is different all the time.
Yeah.
It really is,
And
and
that's
so yeah,
why and that's a you bring up a good point. Because it's an anthology, yeah, you don't need to
right,
maybe work as hard to find the best actors because they're not going to be
exactly,
series regulars. In the
exactly.
case of Haunted Mask Part 2, a year later, it was great to see our,
The other
our cast
people,
come back, and then some other faces, right? But like, yeah,
hmm
and a show like this, as long as they're decent enough, because like you said, the
exactly,
real star is the mask or is the effects or is the
right,
lighting,
slappy,
right?
right,
Of course. So, and that's what makes the sequel
yeah.
episodes so good because not only do we have our iconic green,
Mhm.
OG mask, but now we have this really, yeah, warped. I do love
Gross.
everyone's reaction seeing this old man mask with the spiders. It's like that's
Yes.
what I mean. It's like okay, we're raising the bar.
Yeah,
So
totally,
it's
totally.
pretty great. Like any good
Yeah.
sequel should. You gotta give us more of
I think
whatever
so.
whatever it
I
is.
think so, yeah.
But real quick, I wanted to say, speaking of our Carly Beth, which I think I've told you, I'm pretty sure on one of your episodes,
Yeah.
Carly Beth was so iconic for me as an 8-year-old that I was like, you know what? I'm going to start being called Marky Joe. And I had the
100%.
neighbors say, like, no, call me Marky Joe. That quickly, thank God, ended. Thank God, because I'm not a Marky Joe.
You're not
But
a Marky Joe.
for like a few months, I was like, yeah, only Marky Joe. And people would be like, why? I'm like, because of Carly Beth. And people were like, okay. So yeah, I was a queer nerd horror
You
fan.
really were.
I mean, like it's obvious, right? Yeah. So
Right?
thank you, Carly Beth. But I don't know if you saw this. I happen to be looking at IMDb trivia, which is always a little risky because it's like, is this real?
You never know.
Anyone can update IMDb. You never know. But the actress Catherine wanted to actually eat a real worm in her sandwich that the Bully Boys put in there.
Mhm.
Did you hear this?
Well, yeah, I think for her, like, she has talked about it before. She was on
Yeah.
the Goosebumps Crew podcast.
Okay. Yeah.
And she's on another podcast too that people have interviewed her. You can probably find it.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I think there was the prop guy who said like, oh no, that didn't happen, whatever.
Okay.
But then she has said like, oh yeah, no, I did do that. And it was because it was because if it was a fake worm, she wouldn't have really been able to really have a reaction.
Okay.
So she was like, I mean, if you give me a real worm, like I'll do it. And I guess because it was just like, she just knew that like, because she seems like a very like, she even described herself as a very linear thinking person or whatever. So even at 12, like she was just like, yeah, no, like if this is a fake worm, I don't know if I'm going to be able to really react the way you want. So I need a little something. And you know what? Method acting is a thing. So not saying she's a method actress, but like,
she went for it.
But I kind of get it. Like you need something to do that. And if that's something, as long as you don't hurt the worm, it's good. Like, so
apparently they went through 12 worms. So I guess she was chomping on them. I don't know.
Yeah. Or at least getting close to that. And then that makes you gag. Cause I understand. I can understand that just because like it's gross, but it's also like, well, do you want the reaction you want? Because this is what I can do. Like, and everyone has their different thing. Like, okay, give me a minute. Like, let me go think about like dying puppies or whatever. And then I'll give you the tears you would like.
Of course. Like a lot of us, and especially queer people, but really anyone. I think most people, even if you ended up being a bully, right? There was a time when you were insecure and not feeling like enough. And so this mask and being scary, right, is power. Right? And
it is.
Halloween night, she's seeking power because she's sick of being scarable, Carly Beth, right? Pitiful, scarable, she says, and she wants the power. She wants people to back off. And so I think we all, even as an adult, I mean, sometimes you feel like you gotta kind of be a dick, for people to get it and leave you alone. Right?
And that's why. And what's interesting too is that it's not. The thing is that it's the mask that does it. That's what it is. Carly Beth is just Carly Beth.
It's not
it's not in her, but like it's the evil of the mask that makes it that, you know what I mean? And it's what makes her different, which is why like in the book, I haven't actually read the book or the second book really, but
I did long ago.
But like for example, when she's like she scares the little boys and then their mom is like chewing her out pretty much. She's thinking to herself like, I wish I could just tear your bones like apart and like all this stuff. And that's the mask thinking that for her. It's not, when she says like, it wasn't me that said that to the kids, Sabrina, it was the mask. The mask made me do it. You can lose yourself in that. And that's the danger that Carly Beth is in, is that she could almost lose herself to this thing because she did not have the self-love, the self-confidence, the self-esteem to be able, but then she does gain that after she realizes like, I don't want to be the goblin forever. I don't want to be this monster for the rest of my life.
Is your school lunch making you sick? Is your little brother or sister driving you absolutely crazy? Gotcha! Then we've got just the thing for you. The Haunted Mask, the first video based on the best-selling Goosebumps books by R.L. Stine. Cool, huh?
And also, I think anybody, you yourself, I'm sure can understand this, having been a teen actor or whatever. You don't know what's gonna hit. Like, none of the things that like when they were doing this, they were not thinking like this is still gonna be something I'm gonna be talked about 30 years later,
right?
Or I'm gonna be able to do a convention and people will give me money to sign their stuff because I was in something when I was 13. Like I can't think of this. No, I'm sure she didn't expect. I'm sure Catherine or Amos or any of these people, they didn't expect that 15 million people would watch this episode.
Right.
Like
and that's a lot of viewers. I mean, nothing gets that many viewers nowadays. You know what I mean?
And that's what, and we talked about this before, probably on my show a little bit, but I'm sure you talk about it too, maybe. But like, that's what any actor is that's what they're seeking. Is that the longevity or the memory or the big break. That's what it is. It's getting that big break. You're doing the work, you're doing what you can to put yourself out there, get projects, do stuff. But then once you have that big break, then you hopefully can ride the wave, and you just have to kind of keep reinventing yourself or keep trying to do whatever. But like, and ultimately that's what you know, Catherine and Amos and a few of these people they were able to get because they were on this show. And that's what Goosebumps as a whole kind of gave people is, you know, it didn't launch people into stardom necessarily, but it did get people to notice them so that they could then do other stuff after.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I think it's smart because this was book number 11. So they didn't air the episodes in book order. And I think it was very smart to start the show this way because I wonder, I mean, the episodes as they are great. Like they would have been standouts no matter what. But I think maybe what really makes it so special is that it premiered, you know, with this great story that is so iconic, you know?
Yeah, it's a different story.
That timing was smart to air out of order because another series, a TV series, would absolutely just air the episodes in order, you know, of book order, you know?
Yeah.
But it's smart that they jumped around and started with this. Like they must have known with the mask, with the cast, like, oh, okay, we have something that like this is going to start a show. And how it's just so Halloween. It's so perfectly.
And that's what's perfect too. Yeah.
What a great way to bring kids in. What night do most of us love? Halloween, candy, trick or treat, you know? So like, okay, well now we got a fun story to hook you, you know?
That, and then also you have the actor who, you know, you got this good actress in it. You got this. So yeah. But like, even like Welcome to Camp Nightmare, like, I mean, Kai Eric Erickson's really good, you know, and that's a good episode, but it's like, it's just something where they probably had to look at these and be like, all right, here's how we're going to do the order. And then once they saw that, like, okay, we're cooking with gas here, then we can, when we do the second season and all this, we can kind of
and you
do
can
other
see
stuff.
you like, just because I'm so glad you had reminded me there was a part 2 a year later, because I had forgotten about that and I never really saw it, although I have seen clips or images of that old man mask. I never, so that's why I'm like, whoa, I'm seeing this kind of with fresh eyes. But you can even see a difference, not only in the acting, you know, everyone was good in the first time, but like in the way the show was made, because I even made a note in the very first episode, the music's a little corny, you know, it's a little cheesy, you know, because they wanted to probably walk that fine line. And Tim had just been telling me with his covers, it's like, what they loved about his great colors, the bold, is that they were scary and they hooked you, but they weren't too terrifying, right? So I'm sure with the show, they're like, it's got to be scary, but it still has to be.
It was network TV,
right? Yeah, it's got to be a little light. So that's probably with this like cheesy music. But I noticed for a year later, they sort of embraced a little bit of the darkness more. It was a little less cheesy, a little less safe, and we're, you know, telling still a story that's meant for kids, but it's a little more serious, right?
Yes. And I will tell you this, Mark, I'm so glad you watched it, because that Haunted Mask 2 is so scary because it is like, I was like, this is for children. What the hell?
I know.
Okay, so for those who may not know, the Haunted Mask 2 book is not this.
Oh, it's not. Okay, I don't know. Oh, okay.
No, it is it's still the old man mask, still Steve, all this. It is not the same because like the ending of it is like Chuck also got like a mask from the Halloween store, and like
everyone's just
whatever. And like that's the ending of it, is that like I also got a mask too and I can't take it off. Oh no.
It's
that
like,
kind of a thing. A little more comedic. The way that like Carly Beth and Steve go back to the novelty shop and they like are looking for the costume that goes with the old man mask. And then like some random ass skeleton like comes back and like is in the suit now, and like the old man mask goes on it. It's a whole thing. So they could not make that for television, obviously. So they literally were like, here's what we're going to do. We're going to scare the shit out of these kids, right? And so like it was, because literally like, first off, the haunted mask in the second one, it looks scarier. The way they blacked out the eyes.
Yes.
So good. It adds to the creepiness. And the fact that it's a literal like man, like in the mask. It's not a little girl anymore. It's a man. And shout out to Scott Wickware, who is the voice of the haunted mask in the second one. Like who he was also in Welcome to Dead House. He was one of the zombies, and he was also in Attack of the Mutant as well, where he was the voice of the mutant, I believe. But he's the voice of the haunted mask in the second one, and the way he does just like bring me the head of Carly Beth, like his voice is so effing fantastic. Like where I was just like, and how he's filling this kid with like he has spiders on him.
Yes.
He says he wants him to grovel. I was like,
oh yeah, we're getting dark.
and this is TVY7, like, and I'm just saying like that, like this is something where I'm like, oh, okay, so we're not fucking around here anymore.
No, we are not, and I liked it. Now we
that's
like,
perfect.
You know, things are a little more sweet, and it's like it's okay. Right. Kids can handle some serious stakes,
and like, I think it worked really well because I'm just like, in my opinion, at least, I'm just like, oh no, that is what you should have done because there's no way you could have done, from what I understand with the book, like there's no way. Yeah, and so the fact that you went completely left and did something that was a little bit more terrifying and you were able to do that, I think made sense. And it makes it that much more of an interesting episode where I'm just like, oh yeah, no, like if you're going to watch these, you got to watch both of them because they're both still pretty cool. They both have a fun, nice ending. They have all of that.
Tuesday on Non-Stop Fox. Goosebumps is back with a brand new Halloween special.
Now this is scary.
Once you put this mask on,
what's happening to you?
It stays on forever.
Help me take it off.
Goosebumps, the Haunted Mask 2.
Tuesday at 7 on Fox 32.
The Haunted Mask 2 is a little bit scarier.
I think so too, actually.
Like, and yeah, they're a little scarier than the regular Haunted Mask. The Haunted Mask is more emotional, and the fact that the Haunted Mask is the villain from the first episode, you know, or whatever, and it's just and
it's on the shopkeeper who's like kind of now
so good.
Possessed. I mean, so
he's
it's interesting. And it's also fun. It's always fun to see in any horror when the bully is now the victim, and like that's always like, oh, yikes! Like, you know, it's bad if like this tough brat can't handle it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's different too, and I think also it was a smart thing too, not to be super binary, but like it is this thing of like it's very girl centric because it's Carly Beth. This is very much about, you know, a young boy
version,
a boy version in a way, but the girl is still there who, you know, she's like Ellen Ripley now. It's amazing. You know, and like whatever,
she's the one that knows like what to do,
right?
I love that.
I love that. Like, and it's just also like and again, it's something where I think that episode is really talking about aging, and we're all afraid of some people are just very afraid of aging, and we, even in horror, like you still even see it now where it's like you have the creepy old naked person or whatever, right? That's a trope. And so, but
when Steve, it's like really like now merged onto his skin, which I do love how these episodes, I mean, it is body horror. It really is.
It's
you
so
know, in a
good.
very G way, but like when he gets old and he has his cane and the other kids are like, that's not a mask, that's your skin, man.
That episode, or no, that part of the episode where like the kids, like, because they're literally just thinking like, oh, he's just some old drunk, he's some like some homeless man, and some old bum, and be like, no, I'm a kid, and then he's like, yeah, no, you're not, like, that's not a mask, mister, that's your face. And you're just like, and then that's when he runs into the Haunted Mask, like, and then I'm just like, oh, this is not good. Like, this is bad. Steve, you need to get yourself, because Steve is in a little bit more perhaps both of them are in danger in the episodes, but like, I mean, Steve is literally having a whole ass adult man like telling him what to do, and it is very I don't know, depending on who you are, it could be a little, it's not like Chester the Molester kind of thing, but it's very much like, but it is very like, oh no, this full ass adult man is like telling this kid what to do, and like is making him
if you don't do it,
threatening him, like literally, and having spiders on him and stuff like that.
I
Carly
love
Beth was having to deal with that bad baby. Like,
I know, it's like Carly Beth, it was scary, but girl, like, you just you wait, you know,
wait, because of the second one they're gonna put spiders on this guy,
right? I know that. Anyway. But like, I also love, and it's such a great horror movie moment, you know, when he goes to her house to get this plaster of Paris head, which I've always loved, but even that's kind of creepy. Like, thanks, Mom. That's like the symbol of love, but also, Mom, this is kind of weird. But
why are you letting this old man in our house? What the hell?
Right? Yeah. But then the
Canadians are way too nice sometimes.
Right? He sneaks in and she's looking for him. Like, that's also like, oh, the killer's in the house kind of thing. Right?
Yeah.
So like, you know, there's definitely some cool imagery in these episodes
I
that
would say so.
you know is very adult horror. You know, it's
I would
just
agree.
in the world of kids. But
Yeah,
yeah, I just love these episodes work as such great standalone
I think they do too.
stories. You know what I mean? This also gives me such Buffy vibes because of the cemetery and like this
Yes.
novelty shop feels very like the magic shop in later seasons of Buffy. Like it's so
Mhm,
funny because Buffy started about a year and a half after this, I
mhm.
believe. It was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
spring of 97. So,
Yes.
you know, and it just gives me like very like they almost this is just the next town over from Sunnydale. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That great lighting of the cemetery, the gravestones at night, and the floating heads. Completely
Yeah,
forgot that the floating masks taunt Carly Beth, follow her.
yeah.
Completely forgot. I was like, oh my God, I remember this now.
Right, right.
Beautiful. I love it. I love, right?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
totally. I love that too. And just like how it's, again, this is like something that is made for children. It's gonna scare them enough if they want it, but
Yeah.
like it's something where I don't know, it's just it's so cool that like we could have something like this and be able to have this as just a nice piece of Halloween entertainment or whatever it is.
Absolutely.
And I think also it's just this is why it's been able to last for so long in a way is because like, you know, these themes are kind of universal. I think that's what people love about Goosebumps in general is that like it brings you back to that sort of warm blanket of nostalgia that we all are trying to get and
Mhm.
that corporations are trying to sell us and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a way that you're able to not have to think about the the reality of your life or the reality of what we're dealing with right now because you know even though right-wing people want to believe that America at one time was great, I don't
Mhm.
know about that, but because even
Yeah.
back in the Make America Great days, wasn't exactly great for everybody.
Oh, of
So
course. Yeah.
it's one of those things where we've always been dealing with that, but it's a matter of like I think now, especially with people like yourself and myself,
Mm.
and just elder millennials and whatever, you know, they have this sort of special piece of you know entertainment that they just return to.
Yeah.
Um, because there's the people who you're like you and me who watch this stuff.
Mhm.
There are the people who are effing scared of it, you know,
Oh my
which is
God.
fine
Yeah.
too. But
Uh-huh.
like also, but it's just so cool that like we could have something that could be pushing the envelope a little bit. Whereas now, and again, I wouldn't know because I try to stay as far away from children as I can possibly
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
But you know, but you have exposure to at least some young people.
Oh yeah, all the time.
And so, but you're able to at least be like, but you can even see in their entertainment that they have now is like they're not they're not able to push the envelope like that anymore. They're
Yeah.
not, and they're having to if they want to, they're going back to Are You
Yes.
Afraid of the Dark
Oh yeah,
and
they're finding old
Goosebumps
stuff.
and
Yeah.
stuff like that where they're just like this is cheesy, but also
It's
if it
also like
vibes with you,
good.
it vibes with you.
It works. Yeah.
Like it still works, like you know. So
It doesn't feel hollow, like a lot
it
of new stuff can
yeah,
feel, you know?
I mean,
Yeah.
shout out to Kim Coles getting her little Vampirina check. Like I'm happy for her about that. But it's one of these things where it's like, you know, you're just not going to have the same thing.
Yeah.
The Haunted Mask is all the fun and creepiness of a great Goosebumps story come to life. But it's too weird for words.
Hey Rewinders, I'm interrupting this great convo with Jesse to tell you about the You Run Podcast Network, which is a supportive group of podcasters and YouTubers with shows about all sorts of topics, especially creepy, horror, spooky, crime, that kind of thing. If you're in the mood to find a new show, see our library at yourunpodcast.com. Now let's turn the page and get back to the novelty shop in town to see their disturbing masks. But first, here's a cameo from my friend and fellow Goosebumps lover, Ashley James Lewis. Hi, Ash.
Yo, Mark. So here's the deal with the Goosebumps television show, and especially that first episode with the mask, which is that my sister was a very big Goosebumps reader, and she read all the Goosebumps books, but I actually didn't read any of the Goosebumps books. And we were all really big Are You Afraid of the Dark fans. So my family was really into Are You Afraid of the Dark, and since I was the youngest one, by the time that the Goosebumps television show came along, we had sort of felt that the Goosebumps was sort of like the kids' version of Are You Afraid of the Dark, which is funny because, Are You Afraid of the Dark is the kids' version of Are You Afraid of the Dark. But I never really let them know that first episode actually really freaked me out. The mask getting stuck on the girl's face is something that I think about all the time, even to this day. It's one of those weird images that has just never gone away for me. So, anyway, enjoy. Happy Halloween.
I know I was watching The Haunted Mask and maybe The Haunted Mask 2 as well. I think I was watching them on Halloween for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it as much now, but I can still do it.
I think it totally makes sense, Jesse. And I feel like it belongs up there with your, if not every year, every few years of your rotation of like Halloween watches, because it's up there with Hocus Pocus, with I mean, like we were saying, it has such fun trick-or-treating visuals, the set, the streets, the kids, whether it's you're watching Halloween or Halloween 2018 or Trick or Treat, this is now like Halloween Town Hocus Pocus, the more family friendly, but still gives you that kick, that like, burst of trick or treating, like mecca in your brain. You know what I mean?
And it's just a moment in time.
The horror begins when Carly Beth puts on the evil haunted mask, and it ends when she discovers there is nothing more powerful than the love of her family and friends. What's so scary about that? You'll see.
This series, and whether it's the TV show, this book series, whatever, I mean, before a certain boy wizard and his problematic author came about, this was the book series.
Oh yeah. For sure.
And I know it's weird to kind of say that when people are just like, what do you mean, Jesse? Like, what do you mean? But I'm just like, no. If you weren't there, so if you weren't there, you may not understand it. But like the Harry Potter, right? Like literally, like that became the big series. It had all the movies, all this stuff. Goosebumps was pretty much just as popular, just differently, but like because it never got movies until the 2010s and stuff like that. But like, no, it was. That was the series, like huge. That was it. Wasn't Babysitter's Club was like on the side, right?
Yeah,
or
that
like,
was sort of and that was still kind of girly, whereas Goosebumps
whatever,
and Harry Potter kind of brought all genders together, right?
Goosebumps was for everybody.
Oh yeah,
and then Harry Potter was the thing that kind of really hit, but like Goosebumps was right before that. So it's
many
important
of us would
to
flock right to those books, right?
It's important to note that as well. That like. Yeah, no, like this was the thing. It's like with SpongeBob, that's what kind of turned Nickelodeon into kind of what it is now a little bit. But it was different before that, because when you're in the 80s, 90s version of that, like it's different. Like
it only started as a 4 to 6 book series,
exactly,
right? And then
6 books it was supposed to be,
right?
and
6 books, and then of course it was a hit, and what drew kids in were those beautiful colors from Tim Jacobus and these great twisty stories from R.L. Stein. I mean, oh my god, I met R.L. Stein years ago living in New York City. I had him sign. He wrote I still have never read it. I should really read it now. It's like A Midsummer Night's Scream, I think it's called.
Oh hell yeah.
And he signed it, and there's a picture of me somewhere. Now that I'm remembering, I should post it on the page. But
post it.
Oh my god, icon! Thank God for these guys in our lives. You know what I mean? Like, wow. So
yeah, totally.
Oh, the best.
Yeah, Goosebumps rocks, everybody. Like
it rocks.
It's so good.
And there and Fear Street. I mean, a lot of R.L. Stein's stuff is so good. But there were some Goosebumps. Am I right? Do you remember this too? Where like they were choose your own adventure.
Yeah, so it was the spin-off books.
Yes, I loved. Are you kidding? I was like, oh. I would be like, cancel all plans. I'm not going outside in the summer. I am reading Choose Your Own Adventure, right? Yeah.
Well, and also too, like, again, not to get on the big soapbox or whatever. I know we're trying to wrap up or whatever, but it's like, the thing of like, it's important to note too that like something like Goosebumps and any of these books, like going back to literacy is cool. Yeah. These books like were a way for kids to be able to actually read, and that's like huge.
And like kids are not really reading. Like I see stuff online. I'm like, okay, you're like 17. What are you writing me? Right? Like some of my clients that I teach, I'm like, huh? Right?
You're kind of like, wait a minute, what? And so the thing is like, Goosebumps in a way, just like how any popular book series can have that, but like Goosebumps was one of the ways where like, because it's middle grade fiction, it's pretty easy reads to make. Yep. I think it gave kids the chance to read something and enjoy it and then hopefully be able to move on to other literature.
Hello, I'm R.L. Stein. I write the Goosebumps books.
Did you see that?
Be careful.
Way to go, Carly.
The mask is back.
Cool. Would you take off that mask, please?
The Haunted Mask 2.
These masks are alive.
Based on R.L. Stein's best-selling books for kids, comes an all-new, fun and scary video from Goosebumps.
This is way too cool.
Prepare for another scare. The Haunted Mask 2, now on video. It'll make your head spin.
I checked out that Disney show.
I didn't watch the new Goosebumps. Did you check any of that out?
I did the first season. It's bad.
Is it bad? All right. With
it's
Justin
not
Long
good.
and then David Schwimmer came in.
Not
I feel
not
like...
the fan of the first season. The second season I watched and I have not finished it. I will say the second season I think is an improvement.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's good.
And other people have also Goosebumps crew. If you want to go check them out, if you're a Goosebumps fan, go check them out. They've done interviews and they do episodes on stuff, and they've talked about like the second season of the Disney Plus show. And they even said they were like, I hated the first season, but like the second season is an improvement.
Okay.
And you know it, and I can agree.
I feel like I heard it's canceled.
I don't think it is. I think it is. I don't think it is because honestly, it's just I don't really. I'm not really. I think they should have just done the. Yeah, I don't think that's a bad one. Yeah. But like, I just don't quite know why. This is because TV, but like, it's also like you could just make an anthology series and like. Just do that.
I didn't like that it was like
want.
Right, like a group of friends, and I'm like, wait, no, Goosebumps from the very beginning was always an anthology. With the books, there's very few carryovers with like characters at all.
Right,
you know what I mean?
And like I said, the second season at least does all right, I guess. But like, because they're not okay, but there's that. But like, it's the thing of. I just think like if you want to do a Goosebumps TV show, just do the books again. That's we're fine with that. Like it's not like it's like, oh, like no, the 90s show is so good, like don't touch it. I'm like, no, if you want to touch it and do them again, fine. I don't care.
Remake them and now make them a little scarier, since that's just what
like
kids
do that
can
then
more,
like
right?
you know do that then.
No
but
need
like,
to like gloss it up and make
serialize it, put people in it, I mean, I get the fact that like, you know, you can't put preteens in danger, I guess, or something. I don't know, because none of these people feel like preteens, even though that's what Goosebumps is supposed to be. So it's like, anyway, but it's a thing of like, I just feel like in that way, it's just come on, like, but it's because they also wanted money.
Of course. I mean, it's a brand that will always get attention, right?
And that's not R.L. Stein's fault. It's not R.L. Stein's fault, but it's now because it's not really his. It's his, but it's not his anymore. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. Once you have success with a company, I mean, that company's gonna.
But I hope he has a good bag, though.
Oh, he does. He's doing okay.
Oh,
I mean,
God, I hope so. But it's different, and that's why the Goosebumps Disney Plus show. It just wasn't the vibe, mama, which is then why you have like I think if anything, if you're going to do that, like, I mean, watch the original series and then watch like the Haunting Hour. The Haunting Hour is cool.
I remember that.
You know, and
like
there's
other R.L. Stein stuff.
Or like the Nightmare Room a little bit, but like even the Haunting Hour, like even Goosebumps fans are like, oh no, like if you're going to watch anything else, watch the Haunting Hour. It's pretty good, and it's still an anthology, so it's you're able to have a little bit more interest in there. So it's interesting how that kind of works. And
and also even, you know, I know maybe 5 or so years ago there was the Are You Afraid of the Dark reboot, which that didn't last long either. So
I think some of them are good, but I haven't watched them.
I remember I wanted to check it out. It looked good, but I just, you know, other things came up. So it's also
another Optive Plus.
Oh, there you go.
So now you gotta pirate it. Oopsie.
Says something like, you know, there are these creepy shows of this time 30 years ago. Like they have just great rewatchability. You know, you didn't even have to be alive for back then.
Right.
But there's something that draws you to it, and it's that, you know, the less clear quality, and like maybe it's the cheesy music. Like it's all part of the fun of
cheesy
that.
effects and stuff, and
yeah,
and there's a certain level of that where it's like, because we're now getting old, like that's what it is like you're able to
go back in time,
and then people again, like whether or not Gen Z or before or after will like it, but some of them still bang with it, which is cool.
Yeah, it's at least like
that.
Gotta be funky to watch. Like, okay, so this was like on primetime TV. Okay,
it was on primetime TV. It was on Saturday mornings. Like, yes it was 100%.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah, totally.
The Haunted Mask, the first Goosebumps video ever from Fox Video.
But so Jesse, what's coming up next on your show?
So I am doing I'm doing Swim Fan at some point, everybody.
Of course. Love.
That's another movie where you know, is I don't know if it's good, but you know, it's
I'm gonna say it's good. It's so it's so bonkers that I'm like, you know what, this movie's good, because you know what, movies are supposed to entertain, and it's entertaining. Fair. There you go.
And it's not saying it's not what it is. It is a teenage Fatal Attraction. So I'll give it that. So there's that. I also am going to do probably for Thanksgiving, I wanted to do like, I've already done Addams Family Values, and like I did Blood Rage before, but I decided I wanted to pull up on something, and you'll appreciate this because you love A Dawson's Creek. I'm pulling up on Pieces of April because I've never seen it.
You've never seen it.
So
I remember seeing it soon after it came to like, you know, DVD
video
rental, because it was such a big, it was like, oh, Katie Holmes and like an indie, you know. So I can remember some moments from that, and that's like a real indie. Like that camera they used is
like literally TV camera.
Grainy, gritty, so it's like low budget. So that was a big thing.
And then I also plan to do the Piranha remake from 2010, which is some super fun. Elizabeth Shue is a police officer. What are we talking about? Even? Oh my god,
what a cast! I
love it. And then also I plan to do, because I just watched it for the first time since I was probably a kid, or I probably just saw bits and pieces of it, but my sister loves it, so she's gonna guest on it. I'm doing It Takes Two. So
that was actually my third episode of the show 5 years ago, because that's about to turn 30.
Yep,
right?
It is. I
talked about it for 25. That's wild. Wow.
Yes. And then for, I'm not going to say what I'm doing for December. I will say that I am doing Music Month, and you may or may not be a part of that, as you may know. But think of what that is. It's not necessarily musicals. Maybe some of them are, but just think, it's Music Month. So this is going to be, so not doing Christmas month. Like, we're fine. Like, I like Christmas, but like, you know, whatever.
Everyone else,
But Music Month is going to be movies that are about music, perhaps. And so we'll see how that manifests.
Love,
I know it's a manifest, but
I think it's a great idea.
Let's ask my family. Mom, Dad, what did you think? I think they liked it. I hope you did too. Have a scary day, everyone.
Be careful what you wish for, Carly, Beth, and Steve, and everyone out there. Thanks everyone for listening to or watching this episode, and thank you to my great guest, Jesse Krempel from the podcast Cult Cinema Circle, for coming back and reliving the 90s with me. Follow Jesse at Cult Cinema Circle and check out his show if you haven't already. Give it some love with a rating and a review, and hey, if you don't mind, if you enjoy this show, please leave me a rating and a review and a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube, since that always helps indie podcasts like ours. Thank you very much. See more content from these great episodes of Goosebumps and from this great convo on my Instagram at Release Date Rewind. Thanks Straw Hut Media, the You Run Podcast Network, Kyle Motzinger, and the Portland Media Center in Maine. And next time on the podcast, a killer is on the loose in Virginia, and our queen, Brittany Murphy, is trying to survive in Cherry Falls. Scary good. Bye.